Hi guys, Heather's Homestead here. This is her daughter, Eliza, making one last video of our beautiful home. I am going to walk around making a complete video of our property and our house, saying about how much we love it and pretty much saying goodbye. I know that might be weird to say goodbye to a house, but it's been our home for 10 years, almost 11 years really. When we moved here I was 3 years old. My sister was couple months, like maybe 10 months old. My brother was 8. We have planted a garden here, a huge garden. It's just turned to grass now. I went all the way over to that edge. These are strawberries that have been overcome by thistles that we just can't get rid of. And we haven't been able to do much outside just because of moving. It's been kind of tough. We haven't really been able to keep up on it much. Here's our blackberries, which are amazing. Hey, look, this one's starting to turn pink. These things get to be about like that long. Like, they're huge, and they're so sweet and yummy. These are black raspberries, which is probably my favorite thing on the property. Unlike most raspberries, they are dark. And the pit is supposed to come out. That's what makes them different from blackberries. Down over here is I think this is an apple tree that we planted. Here are some grapes that are actually doing really well this year. They're doing pretty well this year. These are grapes, and this field over here actually usually has corn in it. But they're building houses nearby, but not too terribly close. This is another apple tree. This one is a nectarine that's produced fruit before, but the fruit always dies off and is eaten by bugs and is really gross. Over here are our peaches, which are amazing. These peaches are amazing. They are dwarf peaches, so you can always get to the peaches because they're not too big, like not too tall high up. Here's a peach. It's not quite ready yet. So you can see the comparison to my hand. And they're the best peaches I've had by far. They're so good. So easy to pick, too. There's a couple of them. It's like a mangrove of peaches. This one right here produces, like, the inside of the peaches is white, and the outside's like a dark reddish color. And here's a ton of other fruit trees. You have pears, nectarines, there's a certain one, Asian pears. They're a mix between apples and pears, and they're amazing. I love them. They're really good. They always produce really well, too. Here are some blueberries right there. I forget what kind of plant these are, but they're really pretty when they flower. Look, tiny blueberry. It's one of the first years they've actually been producing good blueberries this year. Here's some of our chickens. One of our chickens was eaten a couple nights ago. One of the roosters that was out, and he was eaten, sadly. But we have 2 other roosters that protect the flock and do well with that. All of these trees, like right here and here, all of these limbs used to come all the way out to here and completely block this entire area. So we converted it to a chicken coop and blueberries and flowers. And sorry if I'm going too fast. And down here is more fruit trees. Like, these are Asian pears. They are the funniest looking fruit I've seen in a while because they look like that. They look like green cherries. They're kind of weird, but they produce really well. Like, look how many there are on here. There's like a ton of them everywhere, and they're so good. They're like crisp, like an apple, but yet they kind of dissolve in your mouth like a pear. So it's a perfect mixture. I love them. Here's another peach tree. This one doesn't do as well, but I think that's just because it's younger. It kind of takes a little longer to get ripe, and when they do get ripe, they're not the biggest peaches. Again, another peach tree. These were planted later Like after we planted the ones up top, then these were planted a couple years later. So again, these don't always produce the best, but they turn pink pretty quick. And down here, I want to show you these blueberry bushes because they're doing amazing. I haven't been here in a couple days. I was on a trip, and I came back, and this is kind of like my last time to say goodbye. This video is going to end up being really long, I have a feeling. I forget what kind of tree this is. I think it's an almond tree. Word to the wise, you might want to spray it because this happens every year. Like, those little beetles, they're so annoying, and they get all over this poor tree. Like, this tree never produces anything for the past several years. We've had it for several years, and it's just never produced anything because those bugs get to it. Okay, take a look at these blueberries. Look at them. Look how ginormous they are, and look how many. There, like they're all over the place. I think the birds have kind of gotten to them because we've been pretty busy. Like, here's one that's almost completely ripe. Well, not quite, but he's ripe on the bottom. And, this little one. Get in. And, these flowers, this doesn't look like flowers, but they turn into the most pretty flowers. They're really cool looking. And, sorry, there's a car going by. And, here's a rose bush that we planted. This one never really does well. We planted them at the same time. But this one does amazing. I think it does better by the pine trees. Pretty roses. Now look at that view. Look at that. How beautiful is that? I love it around here. Like, this is like my home. I've lived here for years. We've worked so hard. It's taken us 10 years to get to this goal. And the woman who is buying this house is very sweet. And she has 2 sons and is getting married. And I know that she and her family will love this house and enjoy it for years to come because this house has been the perfect home for us for the longest time. I have so many good memories here. Like when my brother and sister and I were little, it was just the 3 of us. We would play under here. We would have a bunch of play force under here before it was converted to a chicken coop. And we would play over here and climb the trees and pretend we were spies and stuff and hide in the trees and spy on our parents. And, hey, there's our goats. Their names are Fern and Clover. Clover is the white one, like a clover flower. And Fern, she's named Fern because we got her off of Fern Grove Road. We decided to name her after something of that sort. Right here used to be a little playhouse. Over there used to be a little playhouse, hence the rocks. This chicken coop was actually built of boards from my great-grandparents' old barn. How cool looking is that? Here's the inside. It kind of stinks, but I mean, you hear that? Birds every single year always lay eggs in here every year, and those are the little baby chicks that hatch every year. Like, they're always up there. I wonder if I can see them. Maybe not, maybe. I'm not quite sure. But one time I had to move them because they had fallen out of the nest, and I had to move them to a sturdier nest nearby that was abandoned, and the mom actually moved over to the nest. It was the coolest thing. Here's a holly tree that we climb and spy on our parents in. That's the one we spied on them in. This is our old pig pen that held 4 pigs at one point, I think 2 at another. And this has worked perfectly for our pigs. If you are wondering what all of the dead limbs in there are, my parents actually found this thing that this guy did that really worked to keep down the smell. You put a bunch of huge logs and branches and stuff in there, and then put hay over it, and the pigs love to burrow in that. Keeps them cleaner, keeps the smell down. It works like a charm. There's actually a lilac bush that has just mostly grown up instead of out, which is pretty cool. This was going to be converted to another pig pen. We just never got the chance. And under here, all of these limbs used to be here. Like, there was a ton of limbs. Most of them were dead, but my sister and we took a bunch of spare boards like that and laid them all over the place, like covered this entire area with boards, and had certain boards as our pretend kitchen, certain boards as our pretend bedroom, like this whole thing that we did with boards. Like, that was like our game for like hours, especially in the wintertime. It would keep us out of the snow, and it was actually really warm. Like, I could take off my coat under there because there was no snow, and it was actually really warm. Here is our little goaties. This is Clover, and this one's Fern. They're best friends. They're kind of like sisters. And it's really funny watching them headbutt each other because I know they're just playing, and it's so goofy. Okay, I'm going to walk over here to where more blackberry bushes are. And see the feathers? That's from our rooster. It's a shame, isn't it? This is actually my birthday tree. I know, goofy name. But when I was little, I used to climb this every year on my birthday. I don't know how it started. I just started doing it. And now it's called my birthday tree. And everyone in my family knows it as that. Here's more blackberries. They're red now. These always get ready first, and then the other ones get ready a little later in the year. Like, look, there's even a couple that are ready right now. Like, right here. Look at that. This also used to be a garden that we also would put pigs in. We fenced it in with electric, put the pigs in there, they tilled it up. The only thing is they ate all the worms. So, I mean, just don't keep them in there for too long, you'll be good. Over here is a kiwi that actually produces kiwi. Like, it is the coolest thing. Like, look right here. It's a little baby kiwi. It hasn't produced much because the goats have gotten to it, and it's just been hidden in there between the leaves and such. But I've actually had a couple tiny kiwi. And the little baby ones, you can even eat the skin if you want to. Like, because they're so little, it doesn't, like, matter. Here's some raspberries. I think this one's ready right here. Maybe not. He doesn't want to come off the branch. Oh, he's ready, yeah. Look at that. Hold on, kind of blurry. Can you see that? These are apple trees that always go really well. They're big. There's 3 of them. There used to be a 4th tree. It was a pear tree, but it was like infected, and it was cut down either directly after we moved here, right before, or a couple years later, like one of the two. But it was pretty quick after we moved here. That's all I remember, because I was young. I remember one time my brother, he grew his very own jalapeno plant. And neither of us really knew how spicy it was. And he cut me a section of it, and I ate it. It was about a section about that big, like that wide, and a big round section, and I ate the entire thing. Like, seeds and all just popped in my mouth. That was the spiciest thing I ever had. It was really spicy. Yeah, these chickens are goofy. They'll just crow at 4 in the middle of the day. Sorry, that's a crazy bird. Here's kale, which is doing amazing. Lettuce, onion, beets, and carrots. Then over here, it's a little weedy in here. Here is chives. I think this is sage. This is thyme. No, wait. That's thyme, and that's sage. And this was overgrown by mint, so now it's like mint sage. This is mint and mint. Sorry, that goofy bird. It's probably being scared by something. Up over here, I'm going to show you this pretty little tree and these lilies. Look how pretty they are. And they're so pretty with the little droplets of water on there. Like, that would be a beautiful picture. That's a rose bush that had to be chopped down a little bit. It was a little overgrown. Over here is our fire pit with a bunch of logs stacked up so the woman who's buying our house can burn some logs. She gets here. Sorry, that's just our air conditioner, that sound. Here's a sand pit where we always put our pool on top. You're wondering what this is. My sisters and I dug out this area and made our own tiny pond, and we never just put it back. We just kind of forgot about it. And over here is a hill that in the fall time, even though there's no snow, you can take sleds and slide down it because there's always a ton of pine needles. And I love sliding down it. Up there is a fort with my sister and I that we used to play in. Here's our van. I'm going to go down this hill, which is super steep, by the way, and go inside the house. Here's our garage that she started putting some of her stuff in. I won't get a shot of that or too much of that because it's her stuff. Hold on, I gotta get the door open. I only have one hand. I had to set the blackberries down. I'll come back and get them in a minute. Okay. It's inside. Sorry, that's wipes and a diaper. I'll clean that up. Here's the basement. This is the bathroom. Let me turn on the light. It's probably going to look weird for a minute. Yeah, it looks pink. This is our bathroom. We used to have a really pretty pink carpet on the ground. It was really pretty. Here's some of her things, and that was our school area that we just passed. Over there is our living room area and our stove. That has been blacked, and it's really pretty, like looking. Like it looks really nice and clean. I remember when we put those in, we had like, oh, you can't even see it, but right there, we had really outdated like brass lights before. They just did not look very good. Okay, in here is, hold on, let me turn on the light again, is my bedroom that I had just before we moved, just before we started moving. Get a nice look outside. And the walls are like a light bluish gray. That is her dresser in there. So here's the closet. It'll look again kind of weird because of light. There we go. This closet is actually really big. Like, it's got a ton of space. And under here is a little reading nook that I love. I love this place. Like, there's storage. Then there's a reading nook area. Like, I had a little carpet thing down here. Like, just a spare carpet my parents had that I used. And, yeah. Don't mind those. Those are just little holes from some play stuff. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to go up the steps. Here's our foyer. And all these steps. Here's our hallway that has one of my old bedrooms. I've had most of the bedroom in this house is mine. The walls are like a blue color. This was my second bedroom in the house. My first one was over here, which was the nursery before we started moving. We just had a spare bed so my dad could sleep when he came home late, and then a crib over there, a changing table there, and all of my baby brother's clothes in here. It's a bit more space than a baby needs. And then this also right here used to be my room, and what was I gonna say? And since it was so close to my mom's bedroom, like I could just sneak in my mom's bedroom like all the time. I did that most nights actually. You know what I noticed? Almost all the rooms in my house are like gray. Gray or blue. Like this one's a blue, and my mom's is blue, and my room's gray, and this is a completely renovated bathroom that my parents did, and it took them a long time to do. My dad's friend helped him out a lot. And I'm gonna go to the bathroom in here. This was kind of like my own private bathroom when I was little because I had the room straight across from it, which was nice. Like in the middle of the night, I could just go in there. Here's a linen closet and like a medicine cabinet type thing. Here's a living room in here, and then it was also a dining room in here. And my mom and dad had for years wanted a really nice dining room table, and then finally they got one a couple years ago. And that's that. Here's some flowers that my mom picked. How pretty is that? And here's the renovated kitchen that they worked on for a long time. I remember when this granite was getting put in, the smell of like that stuff that the people use like to seal it and to clean up everything after the fact. Oh, it smelled so terrible. But we have a sink that is like smooth. I don't know what this is called. But it just like runs over. There's no like edge to the sink. This backsplash my brother put in. Really pretty. We painted the cabinets a light up top and a dark down at the bottom. This used to be a Lazy Susan where it would like turn. Now it's just more storage, which is actually better because it gives us more room. There's the dishwasher and the oven and stuff. And actually, there used to be a fridge here and an oven over here. And the fridge used to be white and the oven used to be green. There was an island that came in that area out to about there. And this floor wasn't even here. It was like laminate or something. My parents have done so much work in here. Here's the living room that we just painted recently. And it's a pretty emotional time for all of us, so yeah. Here's the fireplace that used to have glass sliding doors, but we changed it so it was open. My sister and I scrubbed it, like it turned from like this color to like that color. It was really cool. Here's our hutch that was like a raw wood, and we stained it this color. Now I'm gonna go down here one last time. Oh, it was also renovated in here. Cleaned up some, like this was painted, and cleaned up and such. I'm going to quick go outside, have one last look of outside, and then this video will be over, and I will say goodbye to our house forever. Here we go. Look at that view. How beautiful is that? Well, I also got to say goodbye to my kitty. Hey. This is Pumpkin, but everyone calls her Mama Cat. Just because she's had a couple litters and everyone calls her Mama Cat. I don't know, but oh well. Goodbye, YouTube, and bye home.